Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a new HarstemCast video. Today we're going to be having a look at, in the bottom right, spawning as the red Protoss player, it's going to be PartinG. And then in the top left, the pulchritudinous Terran player from Korea. And of course is Maru. It's one of the best, if not the best Terran player in Korea. It's very difficult. These guys in Korea tend to switch so much in skill. One day they look absolutely amazing and the other day they look a little bit worse. But if we think about the Korean Terrans that we currently have, we have Maru, Innovation. I think the Dream is one of those players that is extremely high level. Am I missing some? TY? Well, he went kind of well, he's retired now, semi-retired as he went into the army. But I definitely feel like that Maru is the best one, the most consistent one, the guy that people always, they want to see him play, you know. They think of Maru and it's like, all right, this guy is the best. And his micro is known to be the best. His build order choices are very powerful. We see him opening up with a quick SCV scout here as he's going to figure something out pretty soon. That something is a little bit off here. Because he scouts all of this and he sees, hey, wait a second. This is a single gas. This is a fast warp gate, and we're seeing a gateway being proxied here at the pylon. And this is indeed the good old PartinG 3 gate. Even though we only see a second gateway here, a third gate will enter the fray soon. We'll see another chrono boost on this warp gate as well. And I think Maru knows where this gateway is. PartinG has used this specific gateway position so many times now that I'm surprised that he still uses it again and again. Uh-oh, Terran man, hello? No, he puts it here every single time. Yeah, there we go. Finds it. Sees that there is a gateway here and then builds a bunker immediately. Already had a bunker on the way actually, so even better. Open up with double marine before reactor here as well. Now he's going to try to take out this pylon. I'm not sure if he's going to be capable of taking out this pylon. I don't think he is actually. He's going to be moving back as the SCV pops in to see, hey, what's going on here. Second gas is going down. Third gate, as I mentioned, is also going down, and the Stalker is being built at home, as is standard. Did we have anything die yet? No, I don't think so. No losses, a little bit of damage there on that Adept, but nothing too out of the ordinary. No extraordinary plays yet. Stalker's making its way across the map as well. First 3 extra Adepts are going to be warped in. 3:18 is the timing, a little bit later than ideally he'd want to. And here comes the shade forward. Tank is on the way. It's not going to be done yet. We're going to need to see a pool of these workers towards the bunker. And he definitely needs to close this depot. There we go. Close the depot in time and we'll need to see a worker pool here towards the bunker. This is textbook against the 3-gate opener. This is absolutely textbook. Now we have the follow-up here with the 3 Stalkers, which is also textbook out of PartinG. He's going to try to shade into the main base. He's not going to get it and he's not going to finish it. That is the correct call. Now the thing that PartinG wants to do right now is he wants to go snipe a couple of SCVs and a couple of Marines, and that's exactly what he's going to be doing. You see 3 SCVs going down and 4 Marines already falling. He's going to jump on the bunker as well. No split on these Adepts yet. He's going to lose 2 Adepts, but he takes out a bunker. No salvage there. 5 SCVs have gone down and a bunch of Marines. We have to move forward here coming out of Maru. What PartinG is going to be doing here? It's just going to be moving back. Keeps right-clicking on this command center. Now, the reason he wants to do that is so that mules can't land here in 9. And on top of that, oh, move forward once again out of Maru. Let's see. What does this entail? He's still out of range with these guys, no? Yeah, he's out of range. There's gonna need to be another replacement. Needs to change the location of this tank is what I wanted to say. This command center went really, really low, and he's going to need to spend not only a lot of money on... oh, look at that mule. Made a long trip. It's gonna cost him a bit. Yeah, he's not only going to need to spend a lot of money on repairing this, but also he's going to lose a lot of mining time repairing that. Decides to only repair it up to a point where it's not on fire anymore. We have more Blink Stalkers, or sorry, more Stalkers on the way. Blink is on the way. That's where it went wrong in my head. I saw Blink being researched. We have a third Nexus down as well. 46 workers against 33. There's no real counterattack potential here for Maru. He still doesn't have Barracks 2 and 3. There's going to be a third CC here instead. Yep, I like this call. Maru realizing, hey, if I would throw down Barracks 2 and 3 at this point, my Stim and Combat Shield are going to finish at what, like the 7-minute mark? There's absolutely no way I'm going to be able to do any type of damage. My early game simply was not good enough. So instead Maru says, hey, I'm just going to be actually going for something a little more economically focused. I'm gonna get a third CC. I'm gonna continue my tank production, at least for a while. And I'm gonna just play a very defensive game, and Romance Set is a fantastic map for that, of course. It is a very defensive map. Look at that, look at these ramps. He's going to absolutely be able to fortify himself on top of those ramps, with those tanks, with those, maybe even a little bit of a depot wall coming up here, helping of course against charge lots and any potential Archons. We still have the gateway here. Now the beauty of that gateway there is that it kind of allows you to potentially warp in there, whether that's with these Stalkers or whether that's with a follow-up charge attack. Doesn't really matter. Interesting Blink takes out 2 SCVs, doesn't lose anything, so even though I'm not the biggest fan of how he microed that, it ends up being completely fine. I want to go in for another snipe on these workers, decides not to yet. It doesn't have vision, of course, and doesn't want to just take free tank shots. There's 2 tanks in pretty decent positions here. There's a tank in the back. There's a second tank in the back. We have another mule drop down here. 1-1 is being researched for Maru. This PartinG happily continues on macroing. She's going up to 5 gas. Researching Storm as well, and we're going to be going up to 8 gates on top of that. So it's going to be 8 gates with Storm, charge, +1 attack, and a 4th base on the way. And I think there's going to be a key point here in this game at some point. Okay, there's going to be a key point. I think that key point is going to be when Maru decides to take his 3rd base. He needs to do that soon, okay? He's getting oversaturated in the natural. He has a lot of tanks and he wants to take that 3rd base. He wants to start mining from there. The problem for Maru is that his combat shield isn't done yet. His stim isn't done yet. He doesn't know what's hiding behind his Stalkers. There could be 20 Zealots here. There could be no 4th base, no 5th and 6th gas, and just pure charge lot. Maybe half an Archon in that army as well. I mean, it is a possibility. Instead, we're seeing Storm. So actually what Maru doing is he's delaying his 3rd base, which in this case is probably the incorrect call. He could have just taken it, but how can he know that? He doesn't have any scouting information, so it's such a difficult game for him to play. Parting with a beautiful blink, and I don't know quite how he does this every single time, but it seems like his Stalkers just do more damage than mine or those of other tosses. Storm finishes up, and I think we have a prism out. We have 2 prisms out. We have 1 prism with 4 Zealots in here, then we get 1 prism with a couple of Templar in it. I honestly think Maru is just completely dead. Like, I look at this situation, I think to myself, like, what is a man to do here to win? Like, what can Maru realistically do to get back into this game? And the answer is Turtle. The only thing he can do is Turtle. We're gonna see a blink up into the main base. 2 tanks are gonna get sniped for basically free. This is absolutely beautiful play. Just flew in with a couple of Zealots on top of these tanks. What a cool move out of PartinG. Takes out the Raven as well. More Zealots being warped into the main. I'm surprised we're not seeing the rest of the army being pulled in. He is on 4 base already. These Stalkers are going to try to blink out. And I think they're going to freaking succeed as well. Yep. No, a little bit too slow. Should be... No stim. Okay, here comes the stim out of Maru. Loses the medevac though. And I think this Stalker might be able to make it. Stalker man. Yep, does make it out. 3 workers went down there, 2 tanks went down, a Raven. A couple of Zealots did end up dying. And you see the supply for PartinG actually comparatively is a bit lower than it was before compared to his opponent. The overall supply is still higher, but the difference is a little smaller. And also, right now he's building a depot wall. He's getting... he actually snuck terrible storms there. Or at least good first storm, bad second storm. Loses the prism with the Templar as well, and this had a lot of potential, this attack. This really did have a lot of potential. We're seeing a second prism going into the main base though, and that is also doing a lot of damage. That also has a lot of potential, but I think otherwise he might just straight up kill his opponent here. Now we're gonna see some moves with Blink Stalkers perhaps. I would love to see it. We're not seeing it right now. 6 workers have gone down. I just realized we don't even have an armory, do we? Oh no, we do have an armory, we just don't have 2-2 started yet. I don't think that our good friend Maru quite has the money for it. He's getting 2 Vikings instead, no +2 starting yet. I mean, at least he could start the +2 attack, but for whatever reason he's not. Look at his army outside, just waiting to pounce on his opponent. He's making sure that he sees everything, so he has like a Zealot over here. There's a good old observer in the front. 1 Marine is gonna pay with his life as this observer. Oh my god, that's too risky PartinG. He's gonna end up losing that observer for, well, not for free. He killed a Marine and he He baited out a scan, I guess, but that definitely wasn't necessary. He could have waited until that scan had ended. Once again, the prism comes in. This time the Vikings do get to shut it down. I think there was a big warp in there, I saw on the minimap. Ghost Academy is being built as well. We're still on a single starport for now. Wait, what? Oh, he wants to continue producing tanks. I was like, why is he swapping this? And then going in tech lab, so... This can only be more tanks. He only has 1 tank remaining. So I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure what I think of tanks here. It's sometimes very tricky to say. It's like, hey, do I actually think tanks are good here, or what do I think of tanks? I'm not quite sure. We do have enhanced shockwave on the way though for Maru. We have a couple of disruptors being built, as well as the Dark Shrine. 5th base is finishing up here for PartinG, while Maru is struggling to even get his 3rd base on. I don't like this charcoal run by. This is completely useless in that you're not... I mean, if he's defending this, he's also defending this. It's just too close. Unless you're attacking from 2 sides, don't just send in zealots like that. PartinG, there's absolutely no reason to. You're in a fantastic position. Maybe you want to get rid of a little bit of supply, get some higher quality supply. He immediately realizes, by the way, that his opponent is turtling hard, and he's like, hey, I'm getting disruptors right now, I'm getting a good army, I'm getting DTs, but what I really need is upgrades for my air units. Like, if your opponent is turtling like this, eventually you're gonna need Tempest or Carrier, because you can't just break it by moving into it. And I like that Maru is doing this, because he feels like it's his only chance, but I'm not sure how good of a chance it is against someone like PartinG, who is very well aware of what's happening in these games. Let's just have a look at PartinG's first person here, and you can see the amount of vision he has spread around the map is absolutely beautiful. That's actually great. Fleet Beacon, Stargate being built as well. It's gonna get EMP on a lot of his Templar, and I think now Maru is kind of seeing an opportunity to go in and take his 4th base. Actually, PartinG supply is very low. He does, however, have a prism here. He's gonna try for a... Yeah, this shouldn't really work, right? Oh, he gets the warp in off. Maybe a single EMP here. Maru? No EMP. Okay, interesting. Doesn't want to remove half of the HP of his opponent's unit, or half the shields of his... Well, the entire shield better. The entire shields of his opponent. Ends up losing 12 workers though. Disruptors do end up hitting as well. Didn't quite see what it hit, but I did see a little bit of a drop in the supply there. PartinG's bank still is massive. He's gonna jump on top of this tanks. There's what, 3, 4 disruptors left over. There's a single storm here. Doesn't get used before it gets killed. Single ghost is gonna get taken out by these disruptors. 17 workers are going down. I actually think this might just be a little bit too much. The income for PartinG is so good. He still has this gateway for warping in. 29 workers going down. He's gonna keep moving forward. Here comes the flank from the right side. He upgrades 2-2 against 2-2, and once those disruptors come back into action, I mean, the mines are going to be completely useless. Everything is going to be completely useless. I think there's just too much PartinG and too little Maru. Maru types out GG as he agrees with that assessment, and we're going to be heading into game number 2. Alright, game number 2 after that absolutely mesmeric game number 1, in which it felt like PartinG just was in control. After that early game, Maru tried to go for a camping strategy, which didn't really end up working out. And of course PartinG showed the world what he is capable of. And I'm curious to see if we're going to be seeing a similar playstyle coming out of PartinG. We see the gas being taken, so most likely not going to be the case. But PartinG has shown me over the years now that he is completely capable of doing seemingly random things that then work out for him. Oh, wait. Wait a second. Did I mess up? I think I did mess up here, guys. I think this was a 12 pylon 13 gate. This looks an awful lot like a 12 pylon 13 gate. Now this means we're going to be seeing a proxy void ray. There's a couple of decent locations for it. No, not so much, I say. And yet here we are. The reason I say not so much is because this is probably the first location you scout as a Terran with a Reaper. Right? And technically, if they micro their... If they micro their SCV in some way, maybe it could even go there with it. Nah, SCV will never go there, right? Like this? I mean, technically maybe possible. On the other hand, okay, listen to this. What if he plays Stargate, and then, well, he's gonna play Stargate. Ah, okay, now this Marine's just straight up gonna scout it. Because the location is so obvious that you could almost say, hey, should I really scout it, you know? I think he can pull workers for this. Actually, yeah, he should pull workers for this. Well, there's a Zealot coming out. If it wasn't for the Zealot, I think you can just bunker and pull workers for it, but I could be wrong there. Let's see what the response actually is here coming out of Maru. So he's gonna be going for quick bunker on the high ground. Single gas. Okay. No, second gas. Also okay. We have batteries coming down right here now. Huh. This is just so interesting to me, and the reason why this is so interesting to me is very simple. It's because we're going to be seeing a one base versus one base scenario in which the Terran decides to build double bunkers. He's producing Marines from a single barracks, doesn't want to spend any extra gas on that reactor. Also, very often you end up losing the ramp. So if you build a reactor here, that's money that you invest into nothing really. Because you're going to produce a couple more Marines, sure, but you also lose that reactor. And 50 gas if you're mining off of 2 gas on one base, it's kind of a big freaking deal, huh? Starport is being built behind the mineral line, will turn into a reactor rather rapidly. Or I can only imagine. There's a bit of a supply block out of Maru, a sloppy response. What's the second depot right now? We're going to be going into a Twilight Council, so we're seeing some variation here out of PartinG, okay? He's not doing your standard, let me just do this. No. He's playing a very odd style here. A very odd style indeed. Quick Twilight Council. We have the super rockets. What are they even called? The mag field accelerators. Alright. Alright, buddy. Mag field accelerators it is. So we have Twilight Nexus. Do we have Warp Gate? I think he's forgetting Warp Gate. Oh no. If he forgets Warp Gate here, that's going to be so bad for him. Yeah, he has no clue. Oh. The reason you can forget Warp Gate so easily is because you delay it for so long usually. After like second Void Ray or after sometimes even third Void Ray. Oh, I feel so bad for him. This happened to me sometimes as well when I play this build. It's so frustrating. Because you're... Okay, here it goes. Let's see if he's gonna chrono it. Oh, I was so afraid he was completely gonna forget it. We do have a medevac on the way right now. You have a Zealot still here as well. And with Macfield Accelerator getting pretty close to being done, I think this push is basically coming to an end. I think Maru realizes this push is coming to an end. But Maru's worker count is also really low. Like 26, he doesn't have a natural. Like, even if it was higher actually, even if he had 90 workers, like it wouldn't matter. He can only mine from a single base right now. Man, that did a lot of damage to that Void Ray. That's painful. That actually is very painful. With these 3 Cyclones, he did a lot of damage. We have this single drop heading towards the main base. Is there anything there? No, we see Warp Gate being chrono boosted absolutely desperately. 3 Stalkers are going to be what will be there for this entire push. Void Ray technically could be recalled home, except there's no energy ready. No, especially now that he just chronoed once again on this Warp Gate. We're going to need to see an instant pro pool. This is going to cost a lot of workers here for PartinG. 3, 4, 5 workers are going to be going down immediately. 6, 7, 9. Well, we skipped one. Never even saw 8. We just killed 2 at the same time. We go up to 11 workers down. Oh, this is so painful and absolutely unnecessary. If Warp Gate was just done, he would have had 3, 4 Stalkers ready in position. And he wouldn't have needed to waste 2 Chrono Boost on that Warp Gate like he had to right now. Viking is going to go into the natural as well. There is a battery there that will be able to help out keep some of these probes alive. But losing 11 workers, that is a big freaking deal. Viking considering going in, and he indeed decides to go in here. He's gonna land, he's gonna be able to take out, I think, at least 2 workers before PartinG decides to react to this. It's gonna be 1, it's gonna be 2, yep, there we go, the instant, well, the near instant pull here on this Viking, or on these probes against the Viking. There is a lot of Blink Stalkers though, and there's almost no Marines. Look at this. It is 2 tanks and 3 Cyclones. Now these guys fight well against Stalkers, don't get me wrong, but... Whoa. Like chasing wise, this is not quite the army, is it? Because you need to chase and run away. Which doesn't really work if you're chasing, usually the running away part. Part is gonna lose a stalker in the natural, lost 5 more workers as well. Probably to the Viking somewhere. So this is all of a sudden very all in. He's down 10 workers, down with... Oh my god, look at the amount of mules saved up here. That's gonna be 3 mules, guys. Maybe he's afraid of... Oh my god, this is just bad. This is just over. GG gets called, yeah. I'm just looking at him like, hey, wait a second. Doesn't this game just end? There's like a single stalker left. And that indeed is what happened here as PartinG loses game number 2. And we'll be going into our final game between PartinG and Maru. The final game in this series between, in the bottom left, the alluring Protoss player from Korea. Of course, it's PartinG once again. In the top right, the tantalizing Terran. The best Terran in at least Korea. I wanted to say the world, and then I caught myself and I thought, wait a second. What about Little Clem? And I did think to myself, yeah, what about Little Clem? I was watching a game. Ooh, eBay block. Hold that thought. I was going to say hold my breath, but that makes absolutely no sense. Hold that thought as I'm going to be taking out this eBay. Yeah, it was the other day I was watching, I think it was Maru Serral somewhere, and I was like, huh. And I think Serral just kind of beat Maru. I was like, it's kind of interesting, you know. It's because Clem just beat Serral, so Clem at least is better in TVZ, and then in TVT he seems to be doing well against the Korean Terrans as well. And then in TVP, it's like, he sometimes does well against the Korean tosses and sometimes he doesn't. I think against the Korean tosses, his TVP is his worst. But in general, his TVT still seems to be his worst, just based on things like raiding and the amount of people or like the type of person he loses to. Like he'll lose to foreigner Terrans every now and again, which doesn't really happen too much with foreign tosses. So he did lose to Kung Fu Banda. Talking about Clem now, of course. So yeah, I'm never quite sure who is actually the best, but in my heart, of course, Clem is the best. But Maru also is, yeah, he's just so powerful. He's just so powerful, and the thing is that they have very different play styles as well, right? Maru is this guy who, I think Maru has 2 modes. I always see it as 2 modes, especially in TVP, where if he does damage in the early game, he'll go across the map and freaking kill you, okay? If he feels like he's slightly ahead, he'll scratch off a fingernail initially. It's like, all right, I got his fingernail, now I can chop off his arm next. And he'll go chop off your arm, and once he has your arm, he just grabs your arm and he starts slapping you around with your own arm. And you're like, hey, this is not what it was intended to be. Like, this is not why evolution gave me this arm. You're just being slapped around with your own arm. And he chops off one of your legs with your own arm, using your fingernails as some type of scissors or as a knife. Then he grabs your legs and uses it as a pogo stick. Legs aren't really meant as a pogo stick, especially after they've been chopped off. Where was I going with this? Right, and then he has the other style where if he feels like his early game wasn't even or ahead, and he feels behind, he just starts producing tanks. Tanks, and he just sits back and does nothing. And his late game is just fantastic. And I think that is the difference between him and Clem, is where Clem doesn't feel quite as home in the late game. It feels like Maru very often just decides to skip the mid game entirely. Clem's mid game, I think, is actually the best in the world. But if you look at someone like Maru, I think his mid game is good, don't get me wrong, and his micro is absolutely wonderful, and it's fantastic, and it's exquisite, and I'm running out of superlatives to describe the way that he plays in the mid game, but he's not as good as Clem in that, and that's just a fact. But his late game and his control of these big armies, these difficult to control armies, are so... It's just so fantastic to watch. It's just so good. What is this build, by the way? Is this with a single tank? This is a single tank for SCV. This is a crap ton of Marines, by the way. 13 Marines. There is a battery on the way. It's about to finish up as well. Tank drops. Tank gets picked up. Tank drops again. Tank gets picked up. Tank picks up. Drop. I mean, you can't really break into a 2-base toss with this. This is the type of build where if the toss takes a 3rd base, you can do a lot of damage against him because he just doesn't have the unit count. But now the super battery is just doing a little bit too much. These Marines are falling rapidly. Is Blink done yet? No, it's not. This is a 4-gate Blink, by the way, except it only has 3 gates, so it's a 3-gate Blink. Nice counting there, Kevin. We have a Prism on the way. If he loses this Robo, that would be a little bit painful, because then his counterattack is going to be worse. Second tank is joining up as well. I'm surprised how much damage Maru is doing here. Yeah, this Robo dying is a big deal. That is a big deal, actually. And now, PartinG, I don't want to say he's in trouble, but this isn't super comfortable for him, honestly. Yeah, he needs to blink around. I was going to say, like, he needs to go for, like, some semi-base trading moves here, at least picking off reinforcement lines. He's gonna blink in. He's gonna two-shot one of these tanks. He's gonna two-shot the second tank. It's a beautiful scatter shot. 3 shots, 2 tanks down. Absolutely marvelous play out of PartinG. Such a candid performance so far with those blink stalkers. Even though that initial defense, I think if that battery is further forward, becomes a lot easier. Maru with the quick pickups takes out 4 workers as well. We see 4 workers also went down on the side of Maru. Of course, those were the workers that were pooled, so it's kind of a calculated risk there. And now this medevac is just going to chill in the corner. 6 workers down though. Maru with the 3rd CC already going down. Barracks 2, Barracks 3 are being added. And tank production has continued. We have a Raven out, we have 1 tank out. And a second tank is on the way as well. There is a crap ton of stalkers though, 9 to be exact. And there's only 8 marines. Now, this map is big enough where 2 tanks don't quite cover everything. 2 tanks cover the majority, but they don't cover it entirely. So your second tank could be here or here if you're really feeling risky. So you see Maru is kind of juggling these tanks around, and he's keeping 2 on the high ground for now. And that is most likely where PartinG is going to end up going. No, PartinG says, you know, oh my god, he blinks in to kill the tank and the tank isn't there. This is the type of move you love to see. Kind of brilliant, honestly. Now we have this tank moving down, but it's not quite in range still. Blink into this medevac. 47 workers against 43. We have a 3rd base on the way here for PartinG as well. 1-1 is on the way. Marine count is running low though. A couple of SCVs are gonna end up falling immediately. I'm wondering what's happening here. 800 minerals in the bank for PartinG. He isn't quite sure what to do with his money. Oh no, maybe just... I think he's on 5 gate, isn't he? No, 4 gate. Charge on the way. Yeah, he's gonna spend it just fine. Who am I kidding? Okay, what is this? This is a 4th barracks. We have a 5th barracks on the way as well. So Maru is adding a lot of barracks here. And these stalkers, as long as there's no stim, as long as there's no marauder count, as long as there's no combat shield, these stalkers can trade pretty freaking well. Here we see blink in, going to be on the tank. Yep, there. Ooh, poor shots there. 2. No, needs 3 volleys to take out that tank. Doesn't lose too many units though, because actually Maru was kind of out of position there. Second tank moves in position. I don't think we can see another blink in. That's going to cost him 1 stalker. Tries to take out another marine, but oh man, this is just on the edge. How does he know? He doesn't have vision of that tank. He really is extremely aware of where he can and can't move. Now he knows that this tank is going to unsiege. The sense of timing, the game sense of PartinG is so... It's just absolutely fabulous in this game. In these games, I have to say. However, he's still a little bit behind. 54 against 54. Quick scan out of Maru, checking, hey, do you have a 3rd base? Answer is yes. 1-1 is about to finish up. Marauders are joining the fray here as well. You have another reactor coming down. That barracks in the back, did it get cancelled? Did it fly somewhere else? I think it flew somewhere else. We have 3 tech labs done already, so Marauder production is going to be ramping up. Another supply block out of Maru forces him to build a bunch of depots. 5 depots going down at the same time right now. And that's pain, that's expensive, that's lowering your supply. We have these stalkers with a lot of damage output, by the way. This CC needs to be a little bit careful. We have a blink into the main base. Oh, careful, careful, Maru. You can't just drop into this. There's not a lot of marauders in this army. 1 marauder ends up going down. Stim starts. Combat shield is not quite finished yet. Blink down onto the low ground. 1 tank is gonna fall. Requires 2 shots. Bad scatter shot out of PartinG here. Requires 4 shots to take down 2 tanks with over 9 stalkers. Very, very sloppy. And it lost him a lot of stalkers. And right now I'm actually kind of afraid for PartinG's life. Because... oh no, PartinG's gonna lose 2 more stalkers. And I think Maru says, hey, wait a second. I just killed like 10 stalkers. My production has been very good. I scan forward. What does my opponent really have? And the answer is about 10 zealots. Is there an upgrade here? No, there's not. There's 1 upgrade out for Maru. Mines are... yeah, I mean, this is just over. This is just absolutely over. Super battery not going to be too helpful when the majority of your army consists of zealots. Stalkers are out of range as well. 2 Templar with Storm. Ooh, nasty, bad second Storm is not going to end up helping PartinG there. And I think this, ladies and gentlemen, might just be it. As these 4 5 mines are still alive. They're gonna get a new shot. Burrowing forward, 5 Marauders still in this army. More units rallying forward. Medevac, excuse me, the Prism is gonna go down. GG gets called and Maru wins the series 2-1. Here in this best of 3 between PartinG and Maru. Now, I thought that was an exquisite show out of the Korean Terran player. If you did enjoy it as well, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the channel. Don't forget to smash the like button as well. And hopefully I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for giving me your time. And bye bye.